What's going on, Bottom Line viewers? It's Mitch here of the Bottom Line View, here to recap the Toronto Raptors win over the Washington Wizards, 114-106. The Raptors take it. This was a very exciting game from the beginning to the end. The Raptors look like the more complete, more dominant, playoff-ready team in this one after rebounding from a loss against the Wizards, where the Wizards absolutely shellacked them on their home court. So the Raptors come into Washington, they respond with an 8-point victory and a very solid outing in Washington. Washington has been one of the hotter teams in the NBA, especially on their home court. On their home court, I think their only loss in the last 14 games was against the Cleveland Cavaliers in overtime. So for Toronto to go into Washington and beat them on their home court in regulation by 8 points, that's pretty much a statement win for the Raptors, a team that is looking to ride high into the playoffs without one of their best players in Kyle Lowry. I have a lot to say specifically about the Toronto Raptors and how I think that, like I said in one of their earlier recaps just like a week ago or so, I think Toronto is a team that is flying right under the radar in the Eastern Conference, and I think that they have a lot of pieces that could give not only a lot of teams in the Eastern Conference troubles, but even the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think a big acquisition that they made this offseason has really made the Raptors a more legitimate threat against the Cavaliers. Now, I'm not saying that they'll beat the Cavaliers, but I am saying that the Raptors, with Serge Ibaka and a healthy Kyle Lowry, would really give LeBron James and the Cavs a little bit of trouble. Washington is playing good basketball this season. Something I noticed about Washington, specifically in this game, is that they rely a lot on 1 to 2 players, especially offensively. John Wall is an absolute stud. He is, in my opinion, one of the better players in the NBA, one of the better point guards in the NBA, and he's very, very underrated. You also have Bradley Beal, who is absolutely superb as well. A great shooter and has really improved with his one-on-one game as well offensively throughout the years. He scored 27 in this game. John Wall scored 28, both having 8 and 7 rebounds each. John Wall had 7 assists as well. He only shot 37% from the field, but I thought that John Wall, almost every time he has the ball, he is just so good. I mean, he's so good at finding the open guy. He's so good at getting to the hoop and getting his own opportunities. And he's also good at setting up his teammates. And that is why he's one of the better point guards in the NBA. He's also very good defensively, as he chipped in with 8 rebounds. Bradley Beal shot pretty well tonight, had 47.6%. Took 21 shots, went 10 for 21 on the night, 3 for 8 from three-point land. John Wall was 4 for 8 from three-point land. He's not really known for his three-point shooting, but John Wall was very good from three-point land as well. And it just seemed like the Washington all night, they were relying on these two guys to hit all the shots and get all their points. Besides that, I mean, Porter had 18 points. Porter Jr. had 18 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 1 block. Did contribute in the defensive end. Morris had 11. Gortat was really invisible, and I thought he had a weak game. He only shot 28.6% from field goal percentage, 2 for 7. I mean, not very good. Only had 6 points and 30 minutes played. I know that he's kind of contributes more on the defensive side of things, but he wasn't very strong. And the rest of their team, especially their bench, their bench had a really, really strong game against the Raptors the first time around on, I think it was Monday, and they had a really strong game, and that's the reason why Washington came out on top. But this time, Toronto really turned it around on them and just played a good game on both sides of the court. They just seemed a lot more aggressive. They seemed like they wanted this one more. And I thought a lot of players contributed to this win, not only DeMar DeRozan, but I'm going to start with DeMar DeRozan because, once again, DeMar DeRozan was the best player on the court tonight. He scored 32 points, had 13 rebounds, 5 assists. He was 10 for 17 for 58.8 percentage. 3 for 3 from three-point land, including a couple clutch ones in the fourth quarter. And I think he had 14 points in the fourth quarter, which was absolutely clutch. DeMar DeRozan was super clutch, along with his teammate Norman Powell. Norman Powell had 21 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 7 for 12 from field goal range, and he was pretty good. He was especially good off the bench, something that the Raptors have been desperately needing without Kyle Lowry to get some production off the bench. I do really want to talk about, though, of course, Valanciunas was out of this game early. He only played 12 minutes. He's been struggling with injury. He only had 2 points and 3 rebounds up to that point, but you can't really take that into account because he only played 12 minutes tonight. But Serge Ibaka is the guy that really stepped up in his place. Now, Ibaka is a very versatile player. I really like this acquisition that Toronto made over the past month. Getting him after the All-Star break was great for this team because in the past they have struggled a little bit defensively with some top-tier players. Ibaka gives you that versatility he can not only cover, the guy that's a power forward, small forward, even a center at times, but he can cover those point guards and 2 guards as well in clutch situations, which he did at times against John Wall. Whether it was because of a switch or not, he was still in the face of those players like Beal, like Wall, and making big plays. And he had a few blocks. I think he had 2 blocks, but 2 absolutely awesome blocks in this game. Shot 40%, had 14 points, 8 rebounds, an assist. DeMar Carroll contributed with 7 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. Corey Joseph was a little bit quieter, I guess, tonight. I mean, he's been playing very good in response of Kyle Lowry going down. He had 15 points tonight with 5 rebounds and 3 assists. Another good game for him. But I thought that a lot of players around him kind of eased the pain, especially DeLon Wright, who is another point guard who played very well, I thought, tonight. He stuck out. He was hitting a couple nice shots. He hit 1 3 from outside. He had two field goals, 9 points overall. I thought he just played very well overall, especially offensively. He did make a couple bad passes here and there, but nothing that would really hurt the team overall. I thought he really contributed along with Norman Powell. Like I said, PJ Tucker has been a really nice move for the Raptors. Point production or not, he's playing well. He only had 6 points, 3 rebounds in this game, but the little things that he does, like the defense that he plays, he's always in the right spot. He cuts at the right time. He's good off the ball. I mean, he's a good basketball player, and he definitely helps this team, especially in terms of depth. This is one of the most, depth-driven Raptors teams I've seen in a very long time. I think this is one of the better teams, even maybe better than last year. I think they just have the depth. You see they can beat a team like Washington without Valanciunas, without Lowry. So that speaks a lot because especially in the NBA, a sport where there's only 5 guys on the court at a time, and one player like a Ibaka that they get from OKC impacts their team so much. So having, one of your all-stars and another good player on your team being out is huge in basketball. It's not like football where you can easily replace them. There's 11 players, on offense, 11 players on defense, then there's special teams and everything. So basketball, and even hockey, there's different lines. Basketball, you rely on your starters a lot. So you are asking for your depth to step up routinely in these situations, and Toronto has definitely got that. Washington, again, I think that they need more help for their 2 studs. I mean, a lot of it was Beal, a lot of it was Wall. That they scored 57 points in this game. It even seemed like more. Every time Wall had the ball, sure, he was dangerous, but it's like guys need to step up around him. This team's only going to go so far with 2 guys that are really very good scorers. They almost need that third player. If they had that third player, Washington would be a real threat, I think. But because they don't have that, and because their depth is kind of on and off at times, especially their bench, it's just I don't know who to, you can't rely on any player in particular other than those 2 players to score points. And Beal should have been in the All-Star game as well. He was kind of ripped off from that. But in this game, I thought the Raptors played very well. I have noticed an improvement in terms of their defense, especially their help defense inside. A lot more blocks, a lot better rebounding. And I did think that the Wizards in one instance, they did totally out-rebound the Raptors for second chance points. They totally dominated that facet of the game, but it just seemed like the Raptors had an answer every single time the Wizards tried to respond, and that's very impressive for the Raptors to go into Washington and win a game like this. And DeMar DeRozan just took the team on his back in the fourth quarter and said, here, I'm going to carry you guys to the finish line. He did exactly that, and he's looking to be more and more like the elite player that everybody thinks he is. So the Raptors win this game 114-106. They now improved to 36-25 on the season, while the Wizards are 36-23. The Raptors did win the season series, so that does give them some sort of an advantage. But my thing is, like, while I was watching the game, the commentators were constantly talking about how this game is like a playoff game, how this game really means a lot. To me, it doesn't. I mean, even if the Raptors won or lost this game, even if the Wizards won or lost this game, it doesn't matter. These two teams are in the playoffs. They're going to be looking to win their playoff series. That's all that matters to them. A regular season game doesn't matter too much. It's a 7-game series. The best team at the end of the day is going to end up walking away and winning. It doesn't happen too often where a worse team loses a 7-game series, or a worse team wins a 7-game series. I mean, it's not like, again, the NFL where it's one game and if you suck, you're out. It's the better team most often advances, like 90% of the time. So the Raptors and Wizards, this is a game that will get them ready for the playoffs, but was this a playoff game in my opinion? No. I think, we've seen in the past the Raptors have played great in the regular season. They haven't been able to execute in the postseason. They got over that hump hopefully last year, getting to the Eastern Conference Final and facing the Cavs, and they didn't play great in that series, but at least they got to that point. For the Wizards, they've been on and off because, in my opinion, they still lack the depth around their two stud players. And I think that's what's going to end up hurting the Wizards in the playoffs as well. But this was an entertaining game to watch, and, maybe potentially a series in the playoffs that I'd be excited to watch. It's Mitch of TheBottomLineView. Let me know what you guys thought of the Raptors and the Wizards. Definitely saying that the Raptors are going to be definitely a threat in the Eastern Conference. I brought that up as well with Boston. I think they're going to be a threat. Washington still has an outside shot, but I mean, they don't have the depth that these other teams do. And I think that's what it comes down to. And the bench is huge in the playoffs. So let me know what you guys thought. Comment below your thoughts on the game. Where do you think DeRozan is in terms of an elite player? Do you think he is in the conversation as one of the best players in the league? Do you think John Wall is one of the best players in the league? Let me know in the comments section below. Please like that video and, of course, subscribe to The Bottom Line View for more NBA content and recaps just like this. Thanks, guys, for watching. It's Mitch of The Bottom Line View. Peace out.